Okay guys, I have a really cool show and tell video for you today. You saw the thumbnail, you know a little bit about what this is. And if you watch my videos on a regular basis, two things come to mind. One is the Springfield, 1911 Springfield that I did. I say on there, it was reported that it was dug up from a battlefield in France. I had a lot, and I didn't claim that that was actually true. I just said, this is the story that came with the gun. I'm not sure it's true. And of course, a lot of people typed in BS in the comments. But that ended up being, here's a picture of that particular gun. In fact, Randy from Legacy shot the gun. That particular video has more views than any video we've ever done. 1.2 million views on that Springfield 1911 that supposedly was dug up from a battlefield. This, however, I'm going to say pretty strongly, this definitely was found in a river in 1980. I'll get you more pictures of it, but I'll tell you the story of how it came to us. If you regularly watch our videos, you know that I just went to Mike's house. Mike is a collector. He was in the service for years, Special Forces and paratroopers. And during his time in service, he met a lot of other servicemen, and one of his friends was in Germany, stationed in Germany. And he was on a bridge crossing the river Pegnitz. Here it is in Germany. I never heard of the river Pegnitz, but I went to Nuremberg and I crossed this bridge. Here's a picture of it actually, quite a bucolic setting. But there's a picture of the river and that bridge that I did cross in Nuremberg. It flows right through Nuremberg. He looked down in the river, found this, and pulled it out and brought it home. This is not a gun that is workable or parts that are workable. It's actually quite flimsy. It does. I have to be very careful because it is falling apart. This would break off. There's a little note in here from the vet who brought it back. Again, not during World War II, but after the war in 1980. He writes down that he pulled this out of the river. Let's take a quick comparison look at the Sturmgewehr found in the river. I'm going to call this the Sturmgewehr skeleton versus a Sturmgewehr that we sold off our website. Okay, so the skeleton did not have a magazine that came with it, although I'm sure that was thrown in the river as well and destroyed. You can see that this dust cover is completely gone. This, however, still moves. It's loose. This is quite tight. You can see the front sight cover is still intact. This broke off. And this piece is very thin sheet metal, so it rotted pretty quickly. The receiver is full of holes, and so therefore not usable. This is a non-gun relic. This is the pin that you can remove this stock, and this one, the stock will just fall off. The wood is all rotting. And let's turn it over. Oh, this is the select fire switch. On this one, of course, it moves. This one, it does not move. A lot of rust and decay right here. Let's turn it over and take a look at the other side. Okay, this side might have been the side that was actually sitting in the riverbed because you can see holes that go right through. Here, the stock piece is broken. This actually works, but it's just, there's nothing to it. It's flimsy, loose. But there's a hole all the way through here. If you look down inside here, there's a hole that goes all the way through. Here, there's a hole that goes all the way through. Here. So throughout this is just completely corroded away. So again, this could have been sitting on the bottom of the river. The bolt, I just noticed the bolt is completely gone. Well, there might be pieces of metal down inside there. In fact, let's look down inside there. Yeah, it just goes all the way through. So that just rotted out. And there's still pieces breaking off. So we have to be very, very gentle with it. There would have been a serial number right here, and I don't see any signs of the serial number here. I do see maybe a couple little indentations where there was markings on this gun. But we will be selling this as a relic, and it'll be hopefully on our website real soon. This is already sold. This was in previous videos. I already showed you this. But just a very rare and beautiful Sturmgewehr compared to one that is in skeletal condition. Looking at this, it looks more like a zombie. If you know how their faces rot away? This guy's a zombie. So if you put it in your rec room down the basement, just be careful in case you hear strange noises coming up the steps. Okay, speaking of battlefield finds, this also came from Mike, again, one of his vet friends. There's actually been a lot of YouTube video about Stalingrad finds, the Russians and other people coming in, digging up artifacts in Stalingrad. Usually they would find bunkers outside the city where they'd find German material. This actually, again, according to Mike, he got it from a vet friend. He actually had about 4 of these helmets. This was the nicest of the 4. You can still see the decal on this side, a little bit of red. This is white paint, and I'll show you the inside in a minute. And there's the other decal. I wanted to turn, and this hole goes all the way through, so it's rotted, but it is from Stalingrad, dug up, and it would have had the white paint. I turned this over. This is there to keep the leather from falling out, so let me remove this. And you can see the leather has pretty much rotted, but it's more protected. You can see the white paint for the snow. Might even been white and brown, because I know they used, when I see movies, I see a lot of white and brown to be camouflaged with the snow. There is something written in here. I think they often put their names in there, but I can't swear that it's not just some scratches. So this is a find from Stalingrad, very cool. We're going to be offering this for sale, and he has 4 more, not as nice as this one. Okay, speaking of finding things in a river, this is a segue, but it's the opposite. This should have been found in a river because this is a Gestapo badge. This one is a Kripo badge and then a Gestapo badge. This I did on a previous video, and I said it had been authenticated by Don Bible. This one, actually, when I did this video, one of our viewers said, "You mentioned the Gestapo badge is even rarer. Would you like to buy one?" So I purchased this from one of our viewers, and he had it authenticated. So this was the ID. Of course, then Don Bible does the letter authenticating this piece, which I would always do. These are very expensive, like thousands of dollars. And the reason they're so expensive, you can see the number on here. This was number 12,000. This is number 11,000. But there were a total of about 25,000 Gestapo and criminal police or state security police. So there was about 25,000 agents. And at the end of the war, the US and the Russians, and all the Allies actually, were looking for these guys. A couple of reasons. One reason is they wanted to go after war criminals. They didn't care as much about the common German soldier who probably conducted himself well during the war, but rather those who were the hardcore Nazis that might lead an insurrection, might be put on trial for war crimes. And the third reason that they were looking for these guys is because the Allies were trying to establish a network of spies to work against Stalin and the Soviet Union. So these guys already had a network of intelligence officers, and the Allies wanted to be first to capture these people and then turn them to help in what they thought would be the next war with Stalin and the Soviet Union. Wasn't that far-fetched, but a lot of these guys were recruited. So because they were being sought, a lot of these guys, when the war was ending, took their badges and their IDs and threw them in a river. And that was probably a really smart thing. They tried to blend into the crowd, but of course they found records back at the headquarters, and for the most part they were able to track down most of the previous Gestapo agents and Kripo agents. But some of them, of course, fled Germany and ended up in South America. But I just wanted to show you this. They do come with the chains, the original chain. Extremely rare. Might not be something that you're interested in. By the way, the word Gestapo is an abbreviation of that long German word, which is, I guess, secret police. Okay, enough with the relics and stuff dug up. This was not dug up, but actually one of our viewers sent me this, and I just have to show it to you because it's very, very cool. Of course, this is a nickel-plated PPK, And generally, these were nickel plated by the vets. Vets would pick up their souvenirs. They would have them nickel plated often in Germany, but sometimes they'd bring them back and have them nickel plated. And that was back then just a way to add a little bling to your souvenir. But what makes this so rare, and what he wanted me to be sure to make note of, is that oval G2. Now, you may have seen that before, but if you go to a Polish Viz, Polish Radom or Polish Viz, you will know that it has the G2 proof on the bottom of the magazine. Here's a picture of one here. And that G2 proof means it was sent to the Polish military before the invasion. Now, here's what's interesting, not only because it's so rare, they only made a couple hundred of these that went to Poland. The Polish officers usually use the Viz, but this would probably be a high-ranking officer as a pocket pistol. Just like the German army, the higher the rank, the smaller the pistols. So this was a special order of only about 200 guns that went to Poland in 1938. Now just imagine that. Germany is selling guns to Polish officers in middle of 1938, and of course they invaded in September of 39. There was more to the contract that was never delivered, but of course they did deliver more arms in September in terms of panzer divisions and tanks and all kinds of other weaponry. But that wasn't what the Poles had in mind. So just a very interesting gun, again, nickel plated, and very, very rare. Oh, in case you didn't see it, there's a serial range, which all of them are in a similar serial range, and again, 1938. One of our viewers sent me this. I thought it was pretty cool. It seems fairly ordinary. Who would have ever thought an RZM would be ordinary? This is a real RZM PPK, made in 1935. Here's the serial range, and the finish is a high polish finish. It does come with the finger extension magazine. All of that is correct, and nothing remarkable until I look at the holster. And this holster, which is AK, this is marked AK under the closure strap. This is the correct holster for an RZM PPK. But what makes this one special is I think this is the only one I've ever seen. I've seen holsters that had the name of the German that it was issued to. I've seen them where they had the name of the American who captured it and brought it home. I think this is the only time I've ever seen a holster. That is the name of the German. That's, I guess, an address. He is a lieutenant, and he lives in Hamburg. And then this, I would assume, is the vet, Paul Liski, who brought it home. I don't have time to research this, but somebody who's pretty enterprising, I think it would be a great project for somebody to get this and find the GI that brought it back, and or find the German that originally owned it. And again, he would be a Nazi Party member in 1935. And the only caveat would be, if you find some interesting information, please share it with us, and I will put it on our YouTube channel. So I think this is just an incredible find, probably a lot more to learn, and maybe it's something that you could look into. Okay, just one more gun, and this has nothing to do with digging anything up or finding anything in a river. But there is a segue. This was a previous video as well. And I got a second bite of the apple. That happens a lot with Legacy. We sell a gun, and then later on, when the person is upgrading or thinning out their collection, we got this one back. So this was a video that I did about an RZM marked Walther PP. And I mentioned that I bought this in an auction in Germany because I was curious as to whether or not it was real. There's been about 4 or 5 of these have been reported to me, and I always wondered if they were real. One of my concerns in looking at the pictures, because I couldn't tell really, the finish looks good. The RZM marking looks phenomenal, by the way. That's exactly the way it should look. But notice it has straw color small parts, and Walther didn't do that. They didn't do straw color small parts. So that perplexed me. And the numbering on the slide, that perplexed me. It just didn't make sense. So I went ahead and bought it anyway, had it brought into the United States. And in the video I said, I've looked at it carefully and I'm convinced that this is reproduction, or it's a fake. Basically, somebody made it up. So one of our viewers in Germany actually helped me out and said, these were made, I think he said back in the 80s, and there was a company, there's a CE in a circle, And they don't always put that in there, but he said they actually used to make these and sell them to the German public, and that's why they're coming available, always coming out of Germany. The four that I know of were all out of Germany, and some of them came to the United States, including this one. But so the CE it's a company logo, and this company makes these and sold them as replicas. But actually, a RZM PP never existed. So it's not even a replica of a known gun. It's a fantasy gun. That's what we'll call it. So I just got it back. Several people said, I know it's not real, but I'd like to get it anyway. So it will be available. I'll be putting it on the website this week. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that video. Just a few odds and ends. I decided to do a quick video just to get some content out to you guys because I know you get bored and you're looking for something to do. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel because I've got some fun things coming your way real soon.